Welcome to this week's Movie Math, which throughout the month of September is being brought to you by lynda.com, your online business school for entertainment and beyond. Now this weekend, the major Hollywood studios finally managed to get some of their mojo back, reclaiming the top 2 spots at the box office thanks to some unlikely assists. At first glance, we have a tale of 2 low-budget thrillers, both of which overperformed thanks to both expertly targeting their respective demographics and both casting a wide net with a PG-13 rating. As Uncle Scrooge says, you don't necessarily have to work harder, but smarter. And both The Perfect Guy and The Visit were impressively packaged. The Perfect Guy narrowly took the top spot with a little under $27 million, actually improving on the debut of the similarly packaged No Good Deed exactly 1 year ago. Michael Ealy outperforms Idris Elba? Perhaps we will start hearing his name in contention for more high-profile roles after this boffo debut. Ealy has posted numbers like this before, mind you, but they were always attributed to co-star Kevin Hart. Now that he's proven he can do it solo, perhaps this will be the push needed for Ealy to officially transition from the small screen to the big screen. It's also interesting that both Elba and Ealy executive produced their game-changing flicks. Elba landed the villain role in Star Trek Beyond, and we'll see what Ealy scores. Sanaa Lathan also executive produced The Perfect Guy, and with an audience 60% African American and 70% female, the second-generation entertainer should also see some doors open for her in Hollywood. In fact, she already has a role in Now You See Me, the second act. Speaking of doors opening, it has not gone unnoticed by Hollywood that for 5 weeks in a row now, a film with black leads has held the #1 spot, with the trades actually making that a headline. Maybe now Marvel can be a little less timid when it comes to Black Panther, and DC might seriously consider making Jon Stewart their new Green Lantern. Then, coming in at a very close second is The Visit, a very badly needed win for M Night Shyamalan. Made for just $5 million, which the writer-director ponied up himself, the high-concept thriller debuted on par with Shyamalan's last film, After Earth, but that one cost $130 million. And while Shyamalan didn't pay for that movie out of pocket, he did seem to pay for it with his career. In fact, it was only after assembling a rough cut of The Visit that he was able to interest horror producer Jason Blum, who in turn brokered a release through Universal thanks to his standing distribution deal with the studio. And Universal certainly trusts Blum, as he also recommended James Wan for that Furious 7 directing gig. And now Blum has also been rewarded with a badly needed win, as The Visit's debut recharged his waning reputation. While prolific, recently most of Blum's picks have been debuting in the teens, if not low teens, and that's not what made him famous. Universal ingeniously released The Visit for National Grandparents' Day, and with 60% of the audience under 25, that means many grandchildren decided to celebrate the holiday by seeing this flick. With that and yet another state passing an assisted suicide bill, should real-life Nana and Pop-Pop be worried? As for the rest of the box office, niche pictures War Room and A Walk in the Woods held up surprisingly well, even with the onslaught of more mainstream fare. And yet another religious film managed to crack the top 10, even with a very limited release, and with Hayden Christensen and Kate Bosworth starring. It's a miracle! And while it dropped about 50% in its second weekend stateside, Un Gallo con Muchos Huevos still managed to stay in the top 10. Then in the specialty market, 2 indie comedies had surprisingly strong debuts, with both Sleeping with Other People and Meet the Patels boasting very solid per-theater averages. And overseas, China continues to prove that it's worth the headache, as its box office powered 2 movies to impressive heights. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation opened with a spectacular $86 million haul, $30 million more than its stateside debut. Meanwhile, Minions also had a strong opening with $20 million, which was enough to power it past Toy Story 3 to become the second highest grossing animated film of all time, behind Disney's Frozen. Now we'll take a look at next week's movies in just a moment, but first I want to thank our sponsor, lynda.com. Last week I introduced you to this online business school, and today I'd like to spotlight some of their courses. Now, as I've been tweeting, I just switched from Final Cut Pro to Adobe Premiere Pro, and on lynda.com you can learn how to use both, from introductory courses to how to do various advanced edits. And lynda.com is offering Movie Math viewers a free 10-day trial with unlimited access to these courses. Then after those 10 days, you just let them know whether or not you wish to keep learning. Go to lynda.com/moviemath to sign up, and be sure to use that link to know that we sent you. As for this coming weekend, Maze Runner: The Scorch Trials is expected to easily outrun its competition, but then again, Black Mass is playing the long game, much like Whitey Bulger. And all of Hollywood will be watching to see what kind of per-theater averages Everest, Sicario, About Ray, and maybe even Pawn Sacrifice post in limited release. And that's the weekend box office. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.